Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7. Now of course, as always with a new GT7 update comes a bunch of brand new engine swaps, and it's no different this time around with update 1.59, and we're back up to 10 engine swaps with this update. Overall we have a pretty great selection of different engine swaps here. However, there is something of note to mention, is that none of the new vehicles got a day one engine swap, something that we've seen quite regular so far this year. However, let's get into them, starting off with the most prominent engine swap this update. Okay, so let's begin with a brand new engine swap which is part of this update. That is the MDYA 911 engine. This is of course taken from what you're seeing on screen here, the Porsche 911 GT3 RS, the 992 generation. Now there is also the other 992 Turbo S engine in game, but this one is entirely different and it's naturally aspirated instead of turbocharged. Now there are 4 cars which are going to receive this brand new engine swap. It will cost you 270,000 credits for each individual car, and most notably, and the one that probably makes the most sense, first up is the Porsche Cayman GT4 from 2016. The road going version. Now as you can see, the PP rating will go from 578.04 to 614.26. Displacement will also increase from 3,800cc to 3,996cc. The weight will reduce to 1,320 kg, and we will have a power increase to 517, max torque is 47.5, and weight to power is 2.51. Now the second car is actually the racing variant of the Cayman. This is the GT4 Clubsport. Now this will get a bump from 643.49 to 683.02. Once again we see the displacement increase to 3,996cc. The weight will go from 1,300 to 1,280 kilograms. We do once again see a power increase, 379 brake horsepower to 517. Max torque is from 42.8 to 47.5, and the weight to power goes from 3.37 to 2.43. Now in terms of the car itself, just note that you will lose that race car fuel efficiency by swapping this one. Now moving on, next is the 911 Carrera RS CS 993 generation from 1995. Now the displacement on this one once again increases from 3,839 to 3,996. Once again remains naturally aspirated. The drivetrain once again remains RR, and we see the weight actually increase here to 1,288 kg. Now the power does jump once again from 346 to 517, and we see the max torque rise quite considerably from 40.0 to 47.5. The weight to power ratio on this one is also quite good at 2.45. And the final car is actually a Toyota. It's the GR86 RZ from 2021. Now we see quite a considerable boost here. PP rating goes from 500.51 to 595.72. Displacement once again rises quite a bit this time from 2,387 to 3,996. The weight does increase by 30 kg to 1,300 kilograms. Max power jumps from a modest 231 to 517, and we also see the torque increase a lot to 47.5 from 25.5. Weight to power on this one is 2.47. Okay, next up is another engine swap which gets multiple different cars to go in. That is the V8 Suzuki VGT Group 3. Now honestly, I feel a missed opportunity is here with this Suzuki carry. That would have been absolutely incredible, but no doubt something will be coming for that in the near future. But as for these two vehicles, one actually makes total sense and the other was really quite surprising. I think the main reason for that is because the standard engine from the second vehicle here is actually swappable into other cars. So let's begin with the first then, and perhaps one of my favorite swaps of this entire update. The price for this is the standard price for it, 325,000 credits. The first car is the Radical SR3 SL from 2013. This will see a PP rise from 545.44 to 668.05. Displacement increases by 680cc. We see the weight increase to 805 kg from 775. The max power goes up considerably from 239 to 577. Max torque is 50 dead, and the weight to power is a whopping 1.37. Oh, and of course you get race car fuel efficiency with this swap. Let's move into the second one then, and a very surprising one. This is the Suzuki Escudo Pikes Peak. Now we do see decreases across the board here, however it will allow you to tune up the Escudo in a completely different light and completely gets rid of the notorious turbo lag. So you can see PP does drop to 720.40 from 793.58. Now the only thing that increases is the displacement to 2680cc. Now the weight does go up by 15 kg and the power drops from 981 to 577. Max torque drops to 50 and weight to power does bump up to 1.38 from a major 0.80. However, as mentioned, you can now spec out the Escudo in a completely different form with this. So that section of the video now concludes the multiple engine swaps per engine. Now we're on to the lone ones and we'll begin with the Demon Challenger engine swap. This one is notorious for ridiculous high power output, and it is no different here. Coupled with its ridiculous supercharger whine, it creates one of the best engine notes in GT7, and this time around it's going in the Toyota Tundra TRD Pro from 2019 as a second engine swap. Now as we can see, we do see a PP increase from 421.61 to 529.79. Displacement does increase from 5663 to 6166. Aspiration goes from naturally aspirated to supercharged, and the weight does increase slightly by 5 kg. Max power though will bump up from 379 brake to 840, with the max torque going to 106.5. And we do see the weight to power improve considerably from 6.62 to 3 dead. Now up next we have one of my personal favourite engine swaps in the entirety of Gran Turismo 7. That is the Honda SE75E from, of course, the Honda 2 and 4. Now last time around this went in one of my favourite cars in the entirety of GT7, the Honda S660, which is a K car, and once again it's going to stay with the lightweight theme, going in a very familiar, very slow vehicle, but not anymore. Of course, I'm talking about the Fiat 500F from 1968. Now as you can see here, the engine swap will set you back 600,000 credits, but we see some major increases across the board, mainly the PP rating from 85.03 to 436.47. Displacement does increase slightly from 499 to 999, and the weight will actually go down to 500 kg. Now the max power does bump from 16 to 211, the max torque is at 12.0, and the weight to power goes from 29.55 all the way down to 2.32. That is ridiculous specs. Alright, next up is a returning fan favourite. This is the RB26, of course, from the R34 GTR. Now in terms of this engine swap, a lot of people love it for its high tunability and high power output. By the time you've fully upgraded this engine, you are looking at around 1000 brake horsepower, or just slightly under. Now as for the swap for this one, well, it's really not too surprising. It's a second engine swap for the Fairlady Z432 from 1969. Now as you can see, it's 325,000 credits, so a little bit more expensive than the SR20 originally. Now the PP rating does jump from 409.19 to 498.74. Displacement increases to 2,568cc, naturally aspirated to turbocharged. The weight does increase only slightly to about 1,097 kg. The max power bumps from 157 to 336. Max torque is also improved to 47.8 and a weight to power ratio of 3.20. And the final new engine swap of this update is the V12 XJR9, which of course gives you Group 1 power and performance as well as race fuel efficiency. And finally it's going in a car which I begged to have an engine swap for the longest time. Of course I'm talking about the Jaguar F-Type R from 2014. Just a side note though, this is an incredibly expensive engine swap at 1.6 million credits. Now as we can see from these stats, they are going to go up considerably. So we're going to see a PP rating of 583.95 to 621.26. Displacement is going to increase to 6,995. It's going to go from supercharged to naturally aspirated. The weight will increase a fair amount to 1,770 kg. Max power though bumps from 542 to 749, with a max torque of 79.6 and a weight to power of 2.32. And of course, as mentioned, race car fuel efficiency, completely overhauling the road variant of the F-Type Jag. And there we have it, that is all of the engine swaps from update 1.59, and honestly I really like all of these. They serve different purposes, whether that's just pure high power output, race fuel efficiency, or completely overhauling the car. I think all of these are fantastic. Some surprise ones for me are the F-Type Jag, Escudo and the Radical. Again, I think all of those are going to be incredibly popular, but let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And let me know what you think overall. I'll see you in the next one. Take care guys. Peace.